What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to another student interview with me. I've got an awesome agent, good friend of mine, and one of our top students in our For Sale by Owner training program. With me today, I've got Steve Angeline. Steve, thank you so much and welcome to today's interview.
Hey, Brandon, glad to help you out anyway, and I look forward to this.
Awesome. So really my first question is, how did you find out about me? Like, how did you learn about me and what it is that I teach?
Sure. So I became an agent a little over a year ago, September of 2018. I have quite an extensive background in sales, but got into the real estate with my youngest son at that time. And we were struggling. We were doing all the things that you should do, cold call these people, having no results. And I happened to come across you on a YouTube conversation that you were having with a Keller Williams agent out of upstate New York. His whole philosophy was going after expireds, and you were doing the reverse selling. Just happened to come across it, became intrigued about the reverse selling, and that was December of last year.
Awesome. So we met pretty much when you were just getting into the business. Is that right?
That is correct. I joined in September, found you in December, and still had not even gone on a listing appointment yet.
So let's talk about that. So when you started in the industry, talk people through what your experience was before joining our program, before you met me, and some of those numbers, because those were pretty staggering numbers, and all the work that you were doing. It was not a lack of work while you weren't getting results, but walk people through what you were doing and the challenges you were having before joining the program.
Sure. So I was with Keller Williams, and I very much believed at that point in time in their system of cold calling. And we were doing all facets of cold calling, myself and my sons. And we were cold calling expires. We were circle prospect calling. We were calling an average between the three of us, 2,500 people a week.
Wow.
We're right outside of Washington, D.C., so we learned very quickly that probably 95% of our calls, and I have all the data, we were getting just a voicemail. Very prevalent in this area in Washington. Not a lot of people have landlines anymore. So we were just leaving lots of messages, no return phone calls, talking to, by and large, a lot of rude people that didn't want anything to do with cold callers. And we did this for about 2 months. We called roughly about 20,000 people, didn't even get a sniff of a listing appointment. Very discouraged, thought there had to be a different way, was kind of looking for the things to come about. And I found your whole philosophy about reverse selling, which really fit into my mode of sales for the last 38 years of non-pressuring people.
Sure.
And so that's where I kind of jumped into it.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. And then, so you found me on a YouTube channel, and we jumped on a call, and I want to kind of talk the people through that, because like me, I have been in the industry now for 15 years, and so many people, Steve, are trying to sell us so many different things, and a lot of agents get caught up in all the shiny objects and all these coaches and training programs, and there's a lot of crap being sold out there. So, what was it about our program, or what made you decide that our program was right for you? Because I think, respectfully so, people should have their skepticism guards up, because so many people now are calling themselves coaches and trainers. What was it about our program or about me or anything like that had you said, you know what, this is the right thing for me?
Well, you're 100% right about the shiny objects, okay? I'll be the first one to admit I was fortunate. I had some funds to throw at shiny objects,
sure.
Which I did, okay? Went through probably about $15,000 very quickly, and kind of had to step back and say, hey, my burn rate of cash is very high and the results are not there. I've got to look for a different avenue. And what really fascinated about your program and that was that it took reverse selling, which I understand reverse selling, and it's kind of interesting. I never thought about reverse selling with real estate. I've been doing reverse selling for 38 years, so I needed you to open up my eyes to reverse selling with real estate and the non-pressure approach. So what interests me the most about your program, and I've jotted down a couple notes, was really it was the long game. I was not going to try to convert somebody on a phone within 2 minutes of why they're stupid and why they should go with me. Okay? I've always been involved in my career, the companies that I've owned, in the long game. So I understood your principle, and so then I needed to learn it from real estate to be able to apply it. So that's what really fascinated me the most was don't try to be like the other 50, 60 agents calling these people. Go to the long game.
Got it. Makes a ton of sense. I mean, how did you, I guess where I'm always interested to find out, and I don't think we've ever talked about this, but how did you, decide, to invest in yourself and hire me to help you get the results that we're going to talk about in just a second versus, thinking, oh man, this is just another guy trying to sell me something. What was it about what we talked about or our time together before you joined that said, you know what, this is it. I got to invest in myself. I got to take action.
Yeah, I knew that we couldn't keep calling 10,000 people a month. With the burnout rate we were going through ourselves personally, the kind of scummy feeling that it left me with. I mean, I had one guy tell me, he said, do you have a dog? I said, yeah. He says, I hope your dog dies.
Wow.
So that I just didn't enjoy that whole atmosphere about it. So what prompted me to invest in the program, Brandon, was really two things. One, a totally different method of sales that was totally against the teaching of Keller Williams, where Keller Williams is more about call, pressure. Nothing against that. It's obviously worked for them. I have left them a long time ago. The second thing that interests me the most was about your program was how you've packaged everything. You've packaged everything from, here's my PDFs and, take my PDFs, use my PDFs, replace your picture with my picture in there. You packaged it in a way that after looking at it, I decided that just the PDFs and the information you were giving me was worth it alone. That I didn't have to go out there and try to recreate the wheel on there. So, the bonus was your hands-on approach, how you really care about the program and your hands-on approach, and also to how the program has grown over the last year. Yeah. You don't have a magic wand. I'll tell you that, and you'll be the first to admit, you don't sprinkle little, gold dust on things. It still involves a lot of hard work, but the approach that you give and the package that you give far outweighs the cost.
Got it. That's cool. Thanks for that. And so then you joined, right? Then you got in. You've been now working with me for about how long?
I started second week of December a year ago.
Got it.
At the same time, if you're familiar with Keller Williams, which I think you are, I was taking Bold.
That's right.
I was also taking 4 MAP courses, which meet once a week for about 6 to 8 weeks. I knew I had an education up.
Sure.
Instead of chasing shiny objects, I needed the education up. And I'm forever appreciative to Keller Williams for that education I received, but you tied the bow on it.
Got it.
And so I had not one listing appointment. I took your program, which even at the 30,000 foot level, after just watching the first module, I kind of understood the basics.
Yep.
And I also went with your philosophy that you told me right in the beginning. Learn a little and go fail. Don't try to go through this whole program thinking that you're now the expert and then go. No. So I took that to heart. I learned a little and I went and I failed. And then I learned a little bit more and I went and I failed.
Yeah.
Finally, about 4 weeks into it, now I'm into January of this year, still no listing appointments. I started doing the previews, went out, and lo and behold, I got a listing appointment. And I was able to convert this $250,000 condo for a FSBO into a sale, and eventually got that sale and got it organized. And so I'm going to finish this year with $5.2 million in sales, my first full year in real estate, with $3.4 million for sale by owners.
Awesome job, man. That's huge. That's amazing.
So I took to heart your principle of go and fail. I also took to heart the other things that you said, was that 95% of the people you're going to see, you'll never list them.
Yep.
So the fail rate is high. It's 95%. But in our area, we have about 400 FSBOs a year.
Yep.
Well, okay. 5% of 400 is 20 listings.
That's right.
And the other thing that I took to heart with what you said is that the day rate on this is between 40 and 60 days when a FSBO gives up. So it's all about hanging in there for that window of between the 40th day, the 60th, 70th day when they're going to give up. And if you've done your follow-up, which you teach, then you're right in there. And that's where my success has been. My success has been in that sweet spot of the 40 to 60 day window and the follow-up. Awesome. So those were kind of the things that I learned quickly. 95% you're never going to get.
Yep.
You got to hang in there for that window of 40, 60 days. So don't fall for the bait. Yep. As you have said, don't fall for that. You know, oh, hey, what will you do for me if I want to list with you? You're falling for the bait. You won't get it. Yep. So I took this 3 or 4 of your core principles and went out and started failing. And then all of a sudden it just started clicking. And one guy he got his, and he passed me on to another guy, and that kind of led to one. And then the FSBO turned around and sold the $400,000 condo, and he turned around and bought with me a $785,000 house. So it just kind of snowballed, and that's how I got the $3.4 million in FSBOs this year.
That's huge. So, yep. You know, what's funny about that, as we're shooting this video, it's December 4th today, 2019. And I don't even know, we didn't plan it this way, but it's exactly 1 year since you've been pretty much into the program.
Right.
To your point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you joined the training program, had never sold a house before, calling 20,000 homeowners, had not set an appointment. And then what was different? Like when you joined it, I know you talked a lot about this before, but you know, what was different about what you learned in the program that allowed you, would you say, to go from what you were doing before to going out there and listing for sale by owners in a big way?
Right. So the biggest things that I learned right from the start was to set the preview appointment and go see the folks. You offer in the program 3 different levels. I think one of the things that might get lost with a lot of the students, because I got lost with it, was that don't feel like you got to move from number 1 to number 2 to number 3 to be successful in this. I love the number 1 approach, and I'm staying with it. That's okay, right. Until somebody tells me 3.4 million wasn't any good, I'm going to stay with number 1.
Sure.
My approach is this: I get the FSBO on the phone, and virtually the first thing I say to them is that, "Hi, Jim. This is Steve with Sampson Properties. I'm not trying to list you. I know you're getting a lot of those knuckleheads out there calling you,
awesome.
But I'm not trying to list you. What I'm trying to do is, because inventory is very low right now, is to make a determination, is your home something that we want to perhaps offer to a buyer?
Sure.
But before we can do that, I need to have about 15, 20 minutes of your time to come out and view your property, ask you some questions, and then I'll write it up. And then we'll keep it in our buy folder. And if down the road it doesn't sell, then I'd like to be your backup plan, you know, to help you sell that house. But let's worry about that later. Let's see if I can't find you a buyer.
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah. So I like the non-dirty approach.
Right.
And in fact, usually the line that comes back to me is that, oh, hey, I'm not trying to list you. Oh, that's a first.
Yeah.
You can't believe the number of people that are trying to list me. I said, yeah. I said that I'm not trying to do that. I know you get those calls.
Yeah.
No. So it
That's
was
great.
just more of a laid back approach that I take with these folks.
Sure. And then, like you mentioned before, I mean, really, most of the results come via the follow-up. Would you agree with that?
100%. Really, the preview appointment is one, to get to know the person. Try to establish some type of rapport with them.
That's exactly right.
Two, get the email address, okay? If you go talk to them for 3 hours and you ain't got an email address, you've missed the boat. My average preview lasts between 20 and 30 minutes, and I get out of there.
Good.
Okay? With an email address.
Yep.
My last point that I try to get across to them is I make it a determination, is it the right property for me?
Right.
I've gone into some FSBOs I want no part of.
Right.
It's a dump. I've gone into FSBOs that the guy's a real estate agent, and he didn't say it to anybody. Sure. So I make that determination. Is it a good fit? Get an email, and then soft sell them on the idea you're the backup plan.
That's right.
Yep.
And then you're making a determination whether or not they qualify for your follow-up system or not. And either way is no big deal, correct?
Right. And then I do a follow-up a little bit different. One of the things I think people like myself in your program, students or members, is that your program is a guide. If you try to learn your program verbatim, word for word, you're going to get lost. I've always learned, take the best of what you have and mold it to what fits to me.
That's exactly right.
So I do a follow-up that's a little bit different. After meeting with them, I send them out a very brief email with just a tagline, hey, great to meet you. We've written up your house. A summary of it is below, along with what I think the value is going to be. As a courtesy, I've also put in there what your closing costs would be. And if you were to hire an agent, here's what my commission structure would be, and here's what the selling commission structure would be. And please consider me as a backup plan. I'll stay in touch with you.
That's great. That's great.
If it's a so-so opportunity, I set them up on the 8 postcard program.
You got those now, right? Let's see those things.
Well, the first thing, so if it's a so-so operation that I think that I might or might not have, I do the postcards.
Yep.
That you pass this on to with these folks. 8 postcards. They go out in intervals of 5 days, and it costs $10.
Yep. This
would be for an opportunity. It has my picture on there and the company name, the phone number, and everything like that. And it's escaping me right at the moment, the company's name. What's the company?
The personal marketing company is what you're using?
Yeah, personal marketing company.
Yep. Sure.
So opportunity, I spend the $10 and I send them 8 of these.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm sending out 1 email a week. Hey, just wanted to check in. How'd the open house go? Blah, blah, blah. Any bites? Blah, blah, blah. So they get, over the next 8 weeks, they get 1 email, plus they're getting a postcard. If I feel it's a great opportunity, that this could really turn into something, you just put us on to banner season.
That's right.
And I did the first one, and these are phenomenal. Your template, so they get 8 full customized. I've customized it with my picture, everything on there.
Those look great, Steve.
So they get 8 of these. And then they also get a full-blown brochure. If you can see the pictures on there and everything like that, all the information. And I customize it. I took your lead and through your person was able to customize what I wanted in there, what I didn't want in there.
Sure.
It comes personalized in a nice envelope that the name's going to be on there in a small envelope like this. So this is $28, but to me, the average commission on my FSBOs is between $5,000 and $8,000.
Awesome. So I think that new follow-up system that we just implemented in the program is really going to help you in 2020.
No question.
One quick piece of advice on that the new mailer system,
Yep.
you can brand the envelope as well.
Gotcha.
Okay, so just you can do that. It doesn't cost any more money to do that.
Fantastic. And this is, again, back to one of my original things we talked about. These PDFs and how you've set this up and how you've, literally, here it is, swap your picture out, put my picture in, change your verbiage the way you want. This would cost thousands of dollars to try to create. And for a few $100, it's customized, done, and over. So for that value alone, just these 2 tips that you gave me, these alone was worth the price of admission to the program.
Well, that's great. Well, and that's kind of how I want to, as we end this thing, is it safe to say that you have created, obviously a multiple 6-figure income in your sales business and in real estate, but specifically with FSBOs, this, has it allowed you to earn 6 figures plus with just this one pillar? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about the pillars, FSBOs, yes, definitely a pillar. My farm area, I'm very fortunate. My farm area is 900 houses where I've lived for 30 years.
Yep.
The average sell price is $750,000.
Sure.
And the average turnover rate is 50 homes a year in here.
That's great.
And then I go after, I target renters.
Yep.
High-end renters, people in this area. I send out a mailing every month to 500 renters who are paying $2,500 a month to rent.
That's great.
So those are the pillars. And as you've branched out in your program, through absentee owners, we are sending out 400 emails a week.
Good.
To absentee owners.
Awesome.
And I now have a stable of about 150 absentee owners that we're following up every 30, 45 days based on their feedback to get them in line. And I was able to convert one of those to a listing.
Awesome.
That made $4,000 on that listing. So
that's going to set you up to have a nice 2020 with that pipeline too. And as we continue to grow out our program, we're going to be adding on more and more lead pillars and going deep on absentee owners, expired listings, sphere of influence, database, referrals, the whole thing. So, because one of the things I try to explain to real estate agents, so many agents reach out to me, Steve, wanting to get to this pinnacle in real estate of the $100,000. I want to make $100,000. I want to make $100,000. What I'm trying to explain to people is if you do this program correctly, just with FSBOs gives you the opportunity to make 6 figures in real estate. So what advice would you give people that either are new to our program or considering joining our program about your overall experience, would you say?
Sure. So again, latching on to 5 or 6 of the key points that you mentioned. Number one, you got to go with the idea you're going to fail 95% of the time. So with that said, you got to increase the number of opportunities.
That's right.
If you're failing 95% of the times in baseball, you better get more at bats. Okay. So you taught us expand our area. So I now will consider go seeing a FSBO that's about 75 miles away. One of the things that I did, Brandon, that you had mentioned just in passing was that my broker is a non-franchisee.
Sure.
Sampson Properties, so that they now have 16 offices in Virginia.
Oh, great.
But they own them all.
Yeah.
I now have 12 business cards.
That's so smart.
For all the locations.
That's right.
Okay. And going on that FSBO appointment, if I'm in Woodbridge, here's my business card with the Woodbridge address in there. So I expanded my area.
Good. Okay,
which increased the number of FSBOs.
Yep.
So now I'm at 400 FSBOs a year. Okay, fine. Fail 95% of them. That's still 20.
That's great.
Listings. So expand the area. Know that you're going to fail. But the sweet spot, you got to hang in there. You break it down that a lot of agents never call a second time.
Right.
90% of the agents never call a third time.
Yep.
So now you've reduced your competition. And in between that 40th and 60th day, that's where I then will sometimes go back and send out the postcards again.
Sure, absolutely.
So I've done the postcards for the 30 days 8 times. I'll do it again, spend another $10.
Yeah, smart.
Spending dollars in relationship to the return is not spending thousands of dollars chasing the shiny objects.
That's right.
So that's the thing with the program. But the one final thing would be, don't try to understand the whole program and be perfect before you go. Learn it and go and fail, and make a fool out of yourself.
Yeah.
And go to the next one, and you'll learn more and more. Last tip that I'll give was that I learned it was hard to get preview appointments on the phone to set those up. So to supplement my quantity, I started going to FSBO open houses.
Awesome. Yep.
In my area, we have roughly about, even during the summer, we'll have 10 to 12 open houses a Saturday and Sunday.
Sure.
And I just pop in, do the spiel just like they're on the phone.
That's right.
Good. So that's what's worked for me. And but I owe you a debt of gratitude to point me in the right direction and to realize that we don't have to be slimy in this business. Lord knows there's enough of the agents out there that do that. Yeah. You taught me a clean way to do this.
That's phenomenal. That's great advice. And I'm honored to be in your life to help you through this. The reason why I do this work is to help people like you get into an industry that I love so much, because there's such bad advice out there that you can have a great life. You can make great income in this business, and you can feel full of integrity doing it, serving the consumer, not selling the consumer. And so what's your goal for 2020?
10 million.
10 million. I love it. All right, cool. A lot of our students are trying to get to that $10 million mark next year. And so, Steve, I just want to thank you for now being a leader to new students that are coming into the program, and someone that people can look up to, because this interview is going to help inspire. I'm telling you, Steve, every time I do one of these, so many people reach out to me, thanking the person that I interviewed because it inspired them to take action. They were scared to do something. And so let's end with this. How can people reach out to you if they have a referral in your area, or if they just want some advice? Yeah, sure. No, the best way is to shoot me an email, and it's very easy. It's Steve Angeline, ANGELINE at Verizon, VERIZON.net, or shoot me a text, 703-618-7787. I'll be happy to share any of the information that I can about what's made me successful in this. But I totally believe in 2 things. Number 1, join the program. What you'll get out of just the PDFs and those little tidbits that you give out for free, even if you don't attend the classes, okay? Like back to college, all right? Yes.
Didn't go to the class, but I bought the book. Okay. Yeah. So even if that's worth this money. But the second thing is, and this is an unpaid advertisement for you. If you're in Michigan, join Brookstone Realty. It will be one of the best moves you ever made, because Brandon is 100% commission, just like the broker that I joined is 100% commission. So unsolicited, but if I was in Michigan, I would join you right away, even though I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Go Blue, baby!
Yeah, exactly. I saw you in the rain during the football.
That's right. Well, Steve, thank you so much, man. You are truly someone that people can look up to in this industry. You're a great father, great husband, great inspiration to people getting into this industry. And I just want to thank you so much for your commitment to yourself and to your family. And thanks for hopping on with me today. No, my pleasure. I only wish that at 63 years old, I only wish that I would have found you 25 years ago, because then I would have been retired 15 years ago. There you go. Well, very good. Have an awesome holiday season with your family, and best of luck in 2020. We'll talk to you soon, Steve. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it. Bye now.